Welcome into the Michigan Football Report, ladies and gentlemen. I am James Yoder, the face of Michigan football media. Want to ask you to follow me on Twitter if you've never watched this show before, at James T. Yoder. Also, I'm going to start getting a little more active on my Instagram account. I've had a bunch of people DM me and follow me just randomly because it's the same name as my Twitter account. So go ahead and follow me on Instagram. You see it right there on screen, at James T. Yoder. I finally made it unprivate a little while back, and you can follow me there, see the shenanigans I get into. Let's get into today's segment. Thursday, 2 days till game time against Nebraska in the Big Ten opener, and certainly the Big Ten home opener for the 2018 season. I've got my stock up, stock down for Michigan football coming off a 45-20 victory over SMU last Saturday in the Big House. Number one on my stock up is none other than Shea Patterson. I think that he, even though they lost in that first game against Notre Dame, Shea Patterson had some good stats and has really proven that even with the deficiencies of the offensive line, even with Little John Runyon and Bushel Beatty not giving him some time. And by the way, Michael Dwumfor at right guard was this close to making it on my stock down list. Just had some other people I wanted to get to, but 3 of the 5 offensive linemen are not performing at a level they need to for Michigan to win the 4 big games I've got coming up later this year against teams that started in the top 15 of the AP poll. Shea Patterson, 14 of 18 for 237, 3 touchdowns and 1 interception. He's have 6 touchdowns passing through the year. For the year so far, 4 of those I believe are to wide receivers, and with that he has broken the 12-game curse and also has more touchdown passes through 3 games than any Michigan quarterback did the entire 2017 season, with guys like John O'Corn, Wilton Speight, and Brandon Peters. So we look ahead to Nebraska Saturday afternoon, high noon in Ann Arbor. How many passes will Shea Patterson throw? He's thrown for less than 20 2 straight weeks against lesser opponents after throwing for 30 against Notre Dame. The offense has looked a lot different, a lot more I formation, a lot more deep passes, and certainly more intermediate passes with fewer attempts. Notre Dame was a lot more dink and dunk, 5, 6, 7, 8 yard routes, and as such the volume was there, but some of them more like extended handoffs. So 1 for under, 2 for over. 25, I'll get in with the comments with you on Facebook Live, the Michigan Wolverines by Chat Sports Facebook page, also on the Chat Sports YouTube channel. We're also going to get a new YouTube channel I'll tell you about in a moment for Michigan football only. We'll be putting a lot of content in there the rest of the season. All right, Donovan Peoples-Jones, stock up, my number 2 stock up for the team going into the 4th game against Nebraska. Peoples-Jones was everywhere. I called him out in my stock up, stock down last week. I said Donovan Peoples-Jones has something to prove, that he is just not the Martavius Odoms of the next generation with 3 and 4 and 5 yard routes that he gets instantly tackled. Peoples-Jones showed he'd go downfield in really a variety of ways. A drag route deep into the secondary where SMU was running zone, and he just caught the ball. We're going to show that highlight for you right here. And the defense lost him, and he used his speed to get away from him, and he deceived them by dragging across the field, getting past the linebackers, underneath the safety and corners, and then having a nice dive here into the end zone. He also showed for the 2nd week in a row that he can make that catch versus Wisconsin last year that they ruled out of bounds, that catch in the kind of corner side of the end zone when you've got a guy tight on you. Shea Patterson puts it right on the money, right in the back shoulder. Peoples-Jones reverses, does a spin move in the air, and you know, with that, he's proven himself that Michigan has another legitimate threat in the passing game, someone who can go downfield, someone who along with NICO Collins going for 40 yards, led the Big Ten, I believe. Led the Big Ten in catches over 40 yards through the first 2 weeks. I haven't checked that stat, but had 1 in Notre Dame, 1 in Western Michigan. Now down to Peoples-Jones and Zach Gentry, who had a great game. You've got 3 players who can go downfield in a variety of ways for Shea Patterson to get the ball to. Before we get to number 3 on my stock up, going to tell you about Reveal Suits. You've got just today, ladies and gentlemen, the 20th, Thursday, September 20th, your last day to get the $100 off this Reveal Suit. I'm going to open up my coat so everybody can see. I'm going to this is what I would do if I walked into a meeting with a bunch of Michigan State grads. I'd be doing one of these. You can have this coat. They are not yet for sale to the public, but you can be one of the first people to wear the Michigan Reveal coat, Reveal Suits. It's what's inside info at revealsuits.com locks you in. Gotta be today. It's gotta be today. Info at revealsuits.com will lock you in to $295, $100 off. You will not get a better deal from that. This is a high quality sports coat. This is phenomenal. I wear it whether it said Michigan or not. I encourage you to get going with them. Get one, buy one for a friend, a brother, a sister, whoever would love one from Michigan football this football season before they're sold out. $100 off. Next up, number 3 on my stock up for the game against SMU, Zach Gentry. How about Zach Gentry with 4 catches, yes, for 95 yards receiving. Didn't get into the end zone, but over 20 yards per catch. He was not catching the typical Michigan 8 yards and out or 8 yards and catch the ball and fall down style routes that we've seen for 25 years. He was going downfield, Gronkowski style. It was terrific. You're going to see Shea Patterson put it right in the breadbasket over the linebacker, over before the safety. Gentry catches the ball, breaks a tackle or two, and I was bragging about him in game 1. I told all these Notre Dame fans, they got to keep an eye out for 83. Gentry, he's 6'8". I think he's going to be a star this year. Took him a couple games to get going. Oops, I dropped my phone. A couple games to get going, but now that he's got it going, I think Shea Patterson trusts him. He can make plays in that intermediate passing game that Michigan has struggled at under Jim Harbaugh, and I think that him, Donovan Peoples-Jones, and NICO Collins, who kind of disappeared against Western Michigan, has made Michigan a much more viable passing team. And so with that, I want to know from you. React on Facebook Live. Michigan Wolverines by Chat Sports Facebook Live channel. Yes, hit that thumb, hit that blue like button if it's yes. Should Michigan become a pass-heavy team? Hit the heart, hit no. If you love what they're doing now, you want to keep it going. If you're watching on YouTube, type in yes, type in no, or give me your feedback on which one you think that the Michigan football team should do going forward with 2 running backs that have left games with injury, number 1 and number 2, and Evans and Higdon, and the offensive passing game really emerging. You've got 3 guys that can be viable number 1 options for this team without even your real number 1 guy, Tariq Black, being in the lineup. I am James Yoder. I'm the face of Michigan football media. Look at this face. You see him on YouTube all the time. You see him on Facebook Live. And we're getting a new YouTube channel just for Michigan football. Go ahead and click that link right there. Type that link in. Chatsports.com. Type in Michigan TV. You will redirect to the Michigan Football Report YouTube channel. Michigan-only content. I'm going to be putting some exclusive stuff on there that goes nowhere else on the internet as we push through the season. But I got to get enough people subscribed. And a couple hundred over the last week, 2 weeks. Let's get that bad boy up to 1,000. Chatsports.com/Michigan TV will redirect you. If you're watching on YouTube, just search Michigan Football Report above. Look for the channel and you will get going. All right, let's keep it moving. Who else has their stock up? True Wilson, a guy who was an afterthought. He wasn't even a real recruit. He came in as a walk-on, a state of Michigan superstar, had a lot of stats against some weaker competition, didn't have the size, I thought, when I first heard about him and saw him. Certainly didn't have the recruiting prowess of guys like Karan Higdon and Chris Evans and some others, certainly not Kareem Walker. 11 carries for 53 yards, came in backup duty to Chris Evans and punched one in to the end zone for the first touchdown of his career. So True Wilson's stock is up, and if Evans is hurt and if Karan Higdon can't go again this week, he could be your starting tailback heading into the Big Ten season against Nebraska in the 4th season under Jim Harbaugh. I'm not sure if that says more about the injuries, more about True Wilson, or about Michigan's lack of depth from their underclassmen, but True Wilson is your number 3 running back, 53 yards and a touchdown versus SMU. How about Devin Bush? Devin Bush, the 3rd team All-American in 2017. And gosh, for what he's done so far in Michigan, I'm not sure if there's a player who has exceeded the expectations I had for him as a recruit. He was a highly rated player, but to come in and be Michigan's, in my opinion, best player on the defense for 2 straight years as a guy when he came in overshadowed by Lavert Hill, overshadowed by Rashan Gary, overshadowed by, in your own recruiting class on the offensive side, Brandon Peters and Kareem Walker. He's done more than any of those guys, and certainly he has the All-American and the All-Big Ten accolades that he's going to get again this year. 3rd team All-American last year, had another great game. SMU's football coach said that he is the best linebacker, maybe best linebacker he has ever seen in all of his years of coaching. High praise coming from SMU. They play a lower competition, but they always go out of conference and play some of the top Power 5 schools. And to say that about Devin Bush, I think is big time. I expect more plays to start seeing some of the strip sacks and fumble calls and interceptions going forward. Next up on my list, kind of to round out the stock up, how about Will Hart, Michigan's punter? Maligned some parts of his earliest career for not having the depth on his punts, maybe shanking a few here or there, or even booting it through the end zone 10 yards past the end zone when you're at the 38-yard line. But this year is at a really good year, a really surprising year. He has not punted enough to qualify. I think you got to, it's what, 3.5 punts a game is the minimum you can have to qualify for the NCAA stat leaders. But if he were to qualify after having another 50-yard average against SMU, he's averaging 50 for the year, he would be third in the entire country. Georgia State's punter and Colorado State's punter are averaging just slightly higher than 50. You got 50.3 and then 53 on the nose for Brandon Wright out of Georgia State. So Will Hart has really proven to be a strength for Michigan when they do punt. Didn't have to punt really in the second half, but those first 2 punts to start the game for Michigan, he had a terrific game again for the 3rd straight game. It's always good to have a guy like Will Hart to get the win the field position battle. So those are our stock ups. I'll go through them one more time. Shea Patterson, really the offensive passing game. Shea Patterson, Donovan Peoples-Jones, and Zach Gentry, a guy who came into Michigan as a quarterback, switched to tight end. The last 3 on my stock up. You've got True Wilson, 3rd string running back, walk-on, 3rd year in the program. Devin Bush, last year's All-American linebacker, 3rd team All-American, 1st team All-Big Ten. And then Will Hart emerging as a real strength in the special teams, averaging 50 yards per punt. If he had enough punts, he'd qualify for number 3 best punting average in America right now. So he has turned into a strength for this Michigan football team. Flipping over to question for you guys, knowing who stocks up. And if you watch this show, we've done stock up, stock down for a number of weeks, going back to the preseason, to fall camp. Who is Michigan's MVP? I'm talking about offense. I'm talking about defense. I'm talking about special teams. Who has meant most to Michigan's team? And maybe even consider who could they least afford to lose. So I think it's down to 3 players for me. It's Shea Patterson, it's Devin Bush, and then it's Chase Winovich, with a slight lean towards Bush and Patterson, because I don't think Winovich has made the type of impact that I thought he would as a 5th-year senior player coming back as a starter from last year. This shirt here, you see the shirt provided by Mizzen and Main. It is performance. It's like stretchy. It's almost like I'm wearing athletic gear. I can go play basketball in this. Performance dress shirts, performance clothing for business that you can wear to the bar. You can even wear to the gym or out to a ball game after work. I wear the dress shirts. I wear these performance 3-button shirts, and I love wearing Mizzen and Main. I can walk in the 95-degree heat with humidity, and I barely break a sweat because I can breathe through these bad boys, not like one of these Banana Republic shirts that I'm sweating my butt off. Go ahead and get a Mizzen and Main. Comfortable.af is the website. You will not regret getting to go with them. My name is James Yoder. Follow me on Twitter at James T. Yoder. I'm the face of Michigan football media, self-proclaimed, but I don't think anybody's disputing at this point. You can also now follow me on Instagram. My Instagram account, it's always been private. Now I've made it public. Go ahead and follow me on Instagram. I got a few people messaging me there after our giveaways last week, and so I said, okay, why don't we just open this bad boy up to the public, see if anybody wants to follow me, see the Yoder life in photo. So follow me there, at James T. Yoder on Twitter, at James T. Yoder on Instagram. Take it over to stock down the offensive line rotation. I don't know what is going on here. I want to lose my mind watching games. I was told that the 2 guys that should be starting, we all know who they are, Jalen Mayfield and James Hudson Jr., were supposed to go in the game in the 4th quarter, and that Ed Warner told them to practice, to get ready to go into the game the next drive, and they were overruled by the powers that be at Michigan football. They want to stick with Little John and Jawan Bushell-Beatty. We all remember this play from a couple weeks ago. Even with Little John blocking his own teammate on a long touchdown run by Karan Hayden. You see that there, the guy with his back to us where the red arrow is pointing at him, that is Little John running. Blocking his teammate, not having any situational awareness, and really being a detriment to Michigan's ability to perform at the highest levels on offense. On the flip side, I got my boy. We interviewed him during recruiting season. I think he is a very high upside to be a multiple All-Big Ten player. It's Jalen Mayfield, the true freshman. And if you look at Jalen Mayfield, even against the backups against SMU, I'm going to give them credit. Hey, the backups, I have never seen this kind of drive. He's the guy at the very bottom of the line there. Look at him push this Western Michigan player 15 yards down the field, well past the first down marker. Lets the Michigan running back, who I believe, True Wilson on that one. The second team offense performed a lot better, as far as the offensive line is concerned, than the first team did in that second game. None of the second teamers got any snaps against SMU, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. If you've seen Lil John play, if you've seen Bushel Beatty play for the last 2-3 years, when they were backups, you know they can't get it done. You know Notre Dame absolutely annihilated them. What do you think is going to change going into games against Nebraska, but then Wisconsin with All-Americans at linebacker and defensive line, when you go against Penn State, Ohio State with one of the most ferocious and talented defensive lines you might ever see in the Big Ten? Lil John and Bushel Beatty will get absolutely destroyed. Might end Shea Patterson's season like they did last year. The guys who started over him last year did for a couple quarterbacks. So with that, they got to rotate Lil John out of there. Next up, got to start games strong. You really do. 2 of the 3 games, Michigan has not performed on offense at all. 58 straight minutes against Notre Dame without scoring a touchdown. 58 minutes. You plan 9 months. You can't get into the end zone in your opening game. And then again, against SMU, let them hang around into the middle of the second quarter before you put any points on the board. Punt. Get in the red zone. Okay, we're getting in the red zone. Interception, player doesn't come down for the ball. So Jim Harbaugh, I'm not sure what we're doing here. You had all these players talk to the media on Monday and Tuesday, and they said, oh, we haven't even shown half of our playbook. Yes, that's probably true. You were holding things back to lose to Notre Dame just so you might surprise Penn State in a month from now, right? I really, truly believe that. I don't believe it at all. So why, if they're holding something back, why are they holding it back? Clearly, Shea Patterson is the most talented quarterback Michigan's had. I think you can make an argument they've got the most receiving talent and depth that they've had under Jim Harbaugh. So what are you holding back for? You've got a senior returning starter running back, a backup who's got a ton of playing time. I don't understand why they are not getting off to stronger starts, trying to score in the first quarter, trying to score at all against Notre Dame. Want to know this question? Is Harbaugh too conservative? Does he need to start, pushing the envelope, trying to score 25 points, 28 points in the first half, trying to score 21 points in the first quarter, especially against teams that Michigan has more talent from? I want to know from you guys. Type yes, he's too conservative. Type Y for yes. Type N for no below. Michigan Wolverines by Chat Sports Facebook Live or the Chat Sports YouTube channel. Speaking of YouTube channels, get to following Michigan Football Report channel on YouTube. You can use the short URL there to redirect you at chatsports.com/Michigan TV, or if you're watching on YouTube, pick up in the search bar Michigan Football Report and make sure it's the channel. You might get this video because we call it, of course, Michigan Football Report. Follow and subscribe to the channel. And once we get a few more followers, we're going to start putting some really cool, really exclusive content on that channel alone. You also follow me on Twitter at James T. Yoder. Let's take a look at the rest of the stock down. NICO Collins, where'd you go, my man? Where have you been? Only 1 catch for 3 yards or something like that against SMU. I know Donovan Peoples-Jones emerged. I know Zach Gentry emerged. But if you think about this so far for Collins, he really has been fairly boom or bust for Michigan football so far this year. Had a decent game against Notre Dame and really emerged under Tariq Black's shadow. But the last couple weeks, where has he been? He's really not performed up to the hype and preseason circumstances and accolades that we thought he would be. So 1 catch for 3 yards, and of course no touchdowns last week against SMU. I want to look at his stats for the season to kind of get you guys on the path where he's at. So he's got so 5 catches in the air, 133 yards, 3 catches against Notre Dame for 66, including a long of 52. Then 1 catch, 1 for 44 against Western Michigan, 1 for 3. So back-to-back 1 catch games after a really nice performance, a 3 catch, 66-yard performance in week 1 against Notre Dame. So NICO Collins, we got to see something from you guys. So O-line rotation, starting game strong, NICO Collins. Those are our stock down after the 3rd game that Michigan's played. 2-1 record heading into Big Ten play. Have you seen the sports coat I wear? Have you seen this sports coat? It looks good, right? This is a pretty sharp looking coat. I get compliments on the outside. The second I do this and open it back up, I blow people's mind, ladies and gentlemen. This is a reveal suit. They've had them out for a few other teams right now, just a few other teams. They're about to launch for Michigan, and you can get $100 off if you email them right now. It's the last day. It's the last day. $100 off, info@revealsuits.com. Reveal Suits, it's what's inside. You walk into a meeting with Michigan fans, with opposing teams fans, you will own the day. You will be the most respected man in the room. So get started with Reveal Suits. All right, let's keep it moving. Well, let's not keep it moving because I forgot to tell you that you got to follow me on Twitter. Do you not follow me on Twitter? It's amazing. Lena, I don't know what you think about this, but I've got like 100,000 people who look at my Twitter account every month, but only like 3,500 follow. The numbers don't add up. So quit stalking me and friggin' follow me already. You can also follow me on Instagram. You can see the life, the times, the tribulations of James Yoder, the story, the posts. Hit me on the DMs there if you want, at James T. Yoder on Instagram. You see it there below on the bottom of your screen. Now we've got something to prove. Who has something to prove after 3 games for this Wolverines football team? How about Sean McCune? Sean McCune has disappeared from the passing game wholeheartedly. By the way, he led Michigan in touchdown catches last year. Blows my mind how that happened. But he's been completely nowhere to be found this year. And the one time Shea Patterson tries to go to him inside the 20, he gives up at the ball, thinking about his stats over the team, stops about a yard into the end zone, doesn't come back to the ball, and as such, a SMU receiver, cornerback, defender runs right in front of him, picks it off, takes it back a little bit, and Michigan blows a scoring drive in the first quarter. Could have really helped the game and really put him in a tough position throughout the entire first half until Josh Metellus' walk-off pick 6 to end the first half against SMU. Sean McCune, you got something to prove this week. Last week's guy, Peoples-Jones, 3 touchdowns. Can we make it 2 weeks in a row? Can we get 3 touchdowns out of you? I think you're watching. We'll see. Can you rise up to the challenge? How about Rashan Gary has something to prove? You're expecting an all-world Jadeveon Clowney type season. You're expecting 9, 10, 12 sacks a year, and frankly the numbers haven't been there, nor the disruptive plays or plays that you go, wow, that guy is talented. So he's projected a first-round draft pick, some of them inside the top 10, and I just haven't seen enough out of Rashan Gary that I think that you can rely on him to be an all-American level linebacker like everyone thought he would be coming out of high school 3 years ago. The #1 recruit in 2016, consensus #1 by every recruiting service, Rashan Gary. You have got to prove that when I just kind of look at a game, if I say, hey, point out to me the best football player on this defense right now, people say #3. I think that's phenomenal. If you're a top 10 draft pick, they should be able to say that about you. I have not found anyone who has gone, wow, Rashan Gary is amazing so far this year. He's making adequate plays. He's good. He gets triple teamed. We get all that. But it's time to start making game-changing, disruptive plays if you are Rashan Gary. And last up on my something to prove, it's Jim Harbaugh. I mean, if he's not going to name an offensive coordinator, if he's the offensive coordinator, which it seems like they're running with this year with 3 guys who have qualified, Ed Warner, Jim McElwain, and Pep Hamilton have been offensive coordinators at the highest level of college and pro football. If Jim Harbaugh is taking the reins, he's making all the calls, you got to have a better offensive plan. You've got to take advantage of your strength. You don't have an all-world potential first-round potential running back. You don't have a first-round potential offensive line across the board, but you do have a first-round potential quarterback. You may have one at a wide receiver, depending on how Peoples-Jones and Collins and Tariq Black, as they progress, Zach Gentry evolving. Jim Harbaugh, punt, interception. You had over 8 months to get ready for Notre Dame when you go 58 straight minutes without scoring a touchdown. You've got a weapon in Shea Patterson who you might only have for 9 or 10 more games, depending on how Michigan does this year. If you don't start opening it up, then you're going to get more of the same. It's going to be a 9-3, it's going to be an 8-4 regular season. You'll probably lose the bowl game, and Shea Patterson won't see a need to come back next season. He'll want to go to the pros. He won't think his talents are being used to the best of their ability. So Jim Harbaugh, I implore you, use your strength. Don't be so stubborn, and kind of see what we can do with this offense. Maybe for the only year we have Shea Patterson in Ann Arbor. So Sean McCune, Rashan Gary, Jim Harbaugh, you guys have something to prove this week, starting with Nebraska in the 2018 Big Ten opener at the Big House. So answer this question for me, ladies and gentlemen. How would you grade Jim Harbaugh's coaching so far? I think you could say, I intend it to be this year, but I guess it could be so far in his 3.25 years at the University of Michigan. A, B, C, D, or F. I mean, if you would have told me that after 3 years you'd have a 5-loss season, you'd have 0-3 versus Ohio State, 1-2 versus Michigan State, 0-1 versus Notre Dame, and you'd already have a loss to start the year, you'd be 2-1 outside the top 10, I would have said 3.5 years ago, I would have said, oh, that's probably like a D-. 2016, that loss at Iowa. So answer me, Michigan football, Michigan Wolverines by Chat Sports on Facebook Live, the Chat Sports YouTube channel, A, B, C, D, or F. How do you grade Jim Harbaugh's coaching performance so far? Let's just talk about this year, but if you want to give some comments how you thought overall, I'm going to go with a C+ so far this year, but he has something to prove this week against Nebraska. And his nemesis, Scott Frost, they played a couple years ago when Frost was at UCF. One last time, I want to tell you about Mizzen and Main Performance Fabrics, just breathable clothing you can wear under, as dress clothes under a sports coat like this. It feels terrific. I could take the coat off. I still look good wearing it. And with that, we'll be back with Michigan football rumors roundup later in the week. Michigan will play Nebraska on Saturday. And for that, I'll leave you with this. Go Blue.